Hello and welcome to Chiropractic, putting more life in your years and more years in your life. Would you like less sickness and illness in your life? Would you like improved physical and emotional health? How about more vitality, less stress, more energy, improved coordination and greater life enjoyment? If you are interested in increasing both the quantity and quality of your life and the lives of those you love, then you are going to really enjoy this short presentation with Dr. Glenn McGuinness. Dr. McGuinness is a chiropractor who also has a master's degree in chiropractic pediatrics. He is a much sought after speaker who holds seminars throughout Australia and around the world, inspiring thousands of families worldwide to achieve optimum health. I encourage you to listen to this CD with an open mind and an open heart. This presentation has an important message which just may change not only your life, but also the health and life of your family.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Glenn McGuinness. Did you know that when I grow up, I want to be a little boy? Okay, I know what you're thinking. What's he talking about? Isn't it true that we would all be a lot healthier and happier if we could retain even a small portion of our youthful energy, vigour and positive outlook on the world? Think back to those dim and distant days in the past when you would bounce out of bed and attack the day at 110 miles an hour, go to bed that night, sleep for 8 hours without moving, and then spring back out of bed the very next morning to do it all over again, day in, day out. When you look at your own children, do you ever find yourself thinking, where do they get the energy from? Do you ever find yourself thinking, if only I had half of their enthusiasm and fresh view of the world? Do you ever find yourself thinking, I used to be able to do that, why can't I do that anymore? For many people, getting older means getting old. But you know what? There is a growing number of people who do not buy into this idea that the older you get, the more limited and restricting your life must become. So where do you sit with this? Well, let me ask you a question. If you had the choice to live to 100, would you take it? If I could grant you a free ticket that would guarantee that you would live to 100 years, would you grab it with both hands and run with it? It's an interesting question, isn't it? The answer a person gives perhaps tells you a little about not only their current level of health, but also their perception of where their future health is heading. How we feel as we get older, indeed how we feel about getting older, perhaps better than anything else gives us an insight into our views on health and wellness. It is all very well to have those extra years, but it is the quality of those years that perhaps should most concern us. Perhaps a useful question we should ask ourselves is, how might we all better sustain the child within us as we get older? Regardless of whether you wish to live to 100 or not, here is some important news for you. If the experts are right, there is every chance you will live to be 100. That's right, there is a very good chance you will live well into your 90s and beyond. So you'd better get used to the idea and perhaps even start planning for it. There is now clear evidence that the lifespan of humans is rapidly expanding. Researcher John Wilmoth from the University of California, Berkeley, claims that the human lifespan has no upper limit. No upper limit. So here's a thought for you. What will you be like when you reach 100? What will your health be like? Will you be active? Will you have retained a small portion of your youthful energy, vigour and positive outlook on the world? Will you still have the small child in you? Or will you be a part of the nursing home generation, those elderly people who have lost their health? Will you be one of those people who have lost their spark in life? Well, let's look at some Australian statistics on ageing. In 1901, there were 151,000 people aged 65 years and over living in Australia, comprising just 4% of the total Australian population. By 1998, this number increased to 2.3 million, or 12% of the total population. It is projected that by the year 2051, the number of people aged 65 years and over will have grown to between 6 million and 6.3 million, or around 25% of the projected total population of Australia. In addition to this, as the youngest baby boomers reach 85 years of age in the year 2051, the population aged 85 years and over is projected to reach 1.3 million, more than 5 times the number in 1999, which will represent 5% of the total population. That's 1 in every 20 people is going to be over 85 years of age. One of the major contributors to ageing of the population, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, is increased life expectancy. A recent study has found that life expectancy in much of the world has doubled in the last 100 years. Centenarians are the world's fastest growing population group. An interesting fact, though, is that the centenarians of today, those people who are today 100 years old or more, had a life expectancy when they were born of only 50 years, and yet they lived to be 100. So who are these people these statistics are referring to? Who are these people that are going to live to 90, 95, 100 years and beyond? Who are these centenarians of the future? As we have said, they are you and me. As we have said, there is a very good chance you will live well into your 90s and beyond. We are the group of people that are going to make up nearly a quarter of the population of Australia come the year 2051. We are the centenarians of the future. We are the people who are going to be achieving the age of 100 at unprecedented levels. We are the people who will be the major focus of social and economic planners and policymakers in Australia. It is us who will drive the anticipated dramatic increase in costs associated with the healthcare of a rapidly growing aged population. Now that you know this, let me ask you another question. If you knew you were going to definitely live 100 years, what would you do now differently? If you knew you were one day going to be a centenarian, how would you change your life? Perhaps more importantly, how would you change your lifestyle? George Burns, one of the world's most famous centenarians, once said, "If I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken much better care of myself." So why has the life expectancy increased so dramatically? Why are people living so much longer now? Your immediate response may be that it is because of an improvement in medical care. However, according to a recent study titled "Improving Health, Measuring Effects of Medical Care," all of medicine's interventions combined account for less than 15% of the increase in life expectancy. René Dubois, in his book Mirage of Health, comments on the perception of this impact of modern medicine. He says, and I quote, "When the tide is receding from the beach, it is easy to have the illusion that one can empty the ocean by removing water with a pail. The fact is that according to numerous studies, more than 85% of the increase in lifespan is due to lifestyle-related factors: cleaner water, better sanitation, more refrigeration, and healthier diets. It seems, therefore, that extending the quantity, in other words, the length of your life, must be linked with and intimately related to your quality of life, both of which are largely related to lifestyle factors and decisions over which you have control. Perhaps, therefore, a good question for you might be, what can I do to increase the quantity and quality of my life? Indeed, as I said in opening, how can I be a little boy or a little girl when I grow up? So how can you ensure that you and your family are given the best chance of living long and healthy lives? I'm going to now let you in on a little secret. I'm going to give you the secret to good health, the secret to living a long and vibrant and healthy life. And here it is. Choose your grandparents very carefully. Obviously, because one very important aspect of your health and the health of your children is the genetic information you have inherited from your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Your genetic heritage, your child's genetic heritage, is the single most important factor that will influence the health and life of you and your family. That inborn or innate intelligence in each and every one of us truly is the very essence of life. From the very moment you are conceived, from when you are still only less than the size of a pinhead in your mother's womb, this inborn intelligence coordinates your healing, growth, digestion, balance, communication, immunity, and breathing, as well as your ability to adapt to chemical, emotional, and physical stresses. All of this happens throughout your life simultaneously and usually without you even being aware of it. The same is true of your children. The genetic information you pass down to your child will determine your child's talents, your child's skills and capabilities, as well as their limitations. Your child's genetic intelligence is what makes each and every child unique. There is no one quite like your child. Whether they have the artistic brilliance of Arthur Streeton or the sporting ability of Kathy Freeman is determined by the genetic code handed down to them from you, the parents. Your genetic heritage will not only determine how long you have the potential to live, it will also determine the level of health that you are genetically programmed to achieve throughout your life. This is referred to as your maximum health potential. Your actual level of health is determined certainly by your genetic potential, but it is also influenced markedly by all of those other factors in your life that will decrease your ability to be well. Let us call them the lifestyle-related factors. From when you are first conceived, you are subject to a myriad of lifestyle-related factors which will influence your ability to achieve or express your maximum health potential. Whether your mother smoked, whether she took medications through pregnancy, whether she had x-rays or ultrasounds. These are all potentially factors which may influence you, the developing baby, and your ability to be as healthy as you could be. Factors which may influence your ability to express your very own maximum health potential. And then once you are born, whether you are breastfed, whether you live in a polluted environment, whether you play body contact sport, what your diet is like, whether or not you are raised in a caring, loving environment. These are all lifestyle factors which may potentially affect your ability to express your maximum health potential. Unfortunately, most of us go through life being less than we could because we don't use all of our genetic potential. Now, my role as a chiropractor, and indeed the role of your chiropractor, is quite simply to allow your children to express more of their own genetic potential. So how do we do that? Well, in order to fully understand what an amazing difference chiropractic can make to your health and the health of your family, you must first of all have an appreciation for how your body works. In order for you to function at your best, in order for you to achieve your maximum health potential, your genetic intelligence must communicate with every organ, gland, tissue and cell in your entire body without interference, from when you are first conceived right through until you take your last breath. As I've said, it is a sad fact that most of us go through life with blockages or interferences within this communication system which do not enable us to be our best. Always remember that you can never be better than your genetic heritage allows, but you can certainly be a far sight worse. So how is this genetic intelligence, this genetic potential, conveyed to the rest of the body? How do the cells, tissues and organs communicate back and forth with this inner wisdom? Your nervous system is comprised of the brain, the spinal cord and the spinal nerves which exit between the vertebrae, which then connect with the intricate network of the millions of nerves throughout the body. This nervous system is your genetic intelligence communication center. In order to survive, every cell, tissue, gland and organ in your body must receive a nerve supply from the brain, down the spinal cord, over the spinal nerves between the vertebrae and through the entire nerve network. And conversely, these cells, tissues, glands and organs must send messages back to the brain via these spinal nerves. If these nerve impulses are interrupted in any way and the messages travelling between the brain and your organs or cells is affected, then your body will not function at 100% capacity and your health will suffer. This concept is so simple and yet it is so powerful. I'll say that again. In order for your body to function correctly, messages must travel free of interruption from the brain, down the spinal cord, over the spinal nerves and out to the organs, tissues and glands free of interruption. Unfortunately, the expression of your genetic intelligence can become interfered with. Interference in the spine may affect the ability of your genetic intelligence to communicate over your nerves with the rest of the body. When this happens, it can lead to many different types of health problems. Chiropractors specialise in finding and removing these interruptions to the nerve flow, which are called vertebral subluxations, so that your body can function at its maximum potential. That's what chiropractors do. Nothing more, nothing less. So how often should you and your family visit a chiropractor? How often should you get checked to make sure you do not have a vertebral subluxation? In order to answer this, it helps if you have an understanding of just how damaging are these interruptions to the nerve flow, just how damaging a subluxation can be to your health or to the health of your child. Research from the University of Colorado has found that minimal compression, estimated at approximately 5 millimeters of mercury, which is about the weight of a 5-cent piece, minimal compression on the spinal nerve at the point where it passes between the adjacent vertebrae affected the function of that nerve by as much as 60%. 60%. Do you think a 60% decrease in communication of this vital genetic intelligence or brain energy might impact your ability or your child's ability to be healthy? Do you think a 60% decrease in nerve supply to a cell or tissue or gland or organ may affect how that particular part of your body functions? In the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics, it was reported that as little as 5 to 10 millimeters of mercury pressure, again the weight of a 5-cent piece, can also markedly interfere with the nutrition of a nerve. They go on to say that this may result in the nerve starving, as it is not receiving the required nutrients to survive. Just like a plant can wilt and die without water, so too can your nerves wilt and die without adequate nutrition. If a nerve dies, how is this going to affect the cell, tissue, gland or organ that relies on this nerve for communication with the rest of the body? And remember, this is only a tiny amount of pressure, the weight of a 5-cent piece, a pressure barely noticeable. If you have a 5-cent piece in your pocket at the moment, when you get a chance, get it out and place it on the back of your hand. You'll see that it's not very heavy. In fact, you can hardly feel it at all. And if you leave it there for 2 or 3 minutes, you won't feel it at all. Why? Because your body becomes desensitized to it. Your body, if you like, gets used to it. This is exactly what happens with a subluxation. The unfortunate truth is that most people, whether they be children or adults, are not even aware of the presence of a subluxation because their body adapts and changes and gets used to it. In fact, when people hear about the potential damaging effects of a vertebral subluxation, they often think, gee, I'm glad I don't. I'm glad my children don't have an interruption to this vital nerve flow. I'm sure I would know if my child had nerve pressure from a subluxation. Surely if I had a subluxation, I would feel it. Not so. In an article in the respected medical journal Spine, it was reported that nerve root compression can exist without any pain being present at all. In other words, you can have this nerve compression present, this interference to the genetic intelligence communication network, and not even be aware of it. So how else can a subluxation affect your health? Well, in a research study conducted at the Institute of Occupational Health in Helsinki, Finland, researchers reported on a phenomenon they observed associated with spinal injury resulting in vertebral subluxation. They found that after just a few weeks, scar tissue began to form around the spinal joints, and they also determined that such changes are not reversible. A question I will often ask the parents of patients of mine when they ask me when they should bring their child in for the next spinal assessment is, how long do you want these subluxations present in your child's spine? Indeed, how long do you want these subluxations present in your spine? If science has identified that permanent, irreversible changes occur after only a few weeks, how long are you comfortable with yourself or your child suffering with these subluxations present? Why would you allow your body, why would you allow your child's body to struggle through life with these interferences, whether this be for 2 months, 2 years or 20 years? If you know how easily they can be removed, why would you not see a chiropractor to do just that? Why would you not give your body the best chance to be all that it could be? So for how long and how often should your family see a chiropractor? That is not a decision anyone can make for you. I see my role as a chiropractor is to present the information, present the facts, and then allow you to make a decision from an informed position. If you truly understand the important concept that you don't need any help to be healthy, you just need no interference, then the questions of for how long or how often answer themselves. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The future depends on what we do in the present." To me, this implies that in life we should concern ourselves in the present with that which offers the best opportunity for us in the future. Do you think the lifestyle choices you make today are going to impact your health or the health of your family in the future? There is absolutely no doubt about that. My belief is that everyone, both children and adults, should be given the opportunity to receive regular chiropractic care throughout their lives to give them the best possible chance to express their maximum health potential, to give the kids the best chance of growing up strong, straight and healthy. One of the most frustrating aspects for me as a chiropractor is seeing parents coming in to get well and leaving their kids home to get sick. One of the things I say to parents about the importance of chiropractic care for their kids is that one of the best reasons to bring a child in for care is to ensure they don't turn out like their parents. So many children have problems that, if left untreated, will result in chronic problems for them in adulthood. Dr. Francis Smith, a consultant radiologist and sports medicine physician at Woodland Hospital in Scotland, through the use of MRI scans, found that almost 1 in 10 children show signs of back problems before puberty. The study found that 9% of 10-year-olds studied showed abnormalities in at least one disc in their spine. In another study published in the medical journal Spine in 1995, the spinal health of 640 14-year-old children was investigated. Information on these children was collected from 1965 through until 1990. One of the study's findings included that the presence of radiographic abnormalities in the child due to degeneration was associated with an increased incidence of back pain and problems in adulthood. All of my children have received regular chiropractic care all of their lives, and I know this has benefited their health and their lives in so many ways. And research certainly supports the benefits of a chiropractic lifestyle. A study which was published in the Journal of Chiropractic Research in 1989 was undertaken to determine if a relationship existed between the incidence of childhood diseases and the frequency of chiropractic care. The results of the study found that regular chiropractic care increased resistance to the common childhood diseases. Another study printed in the Journal of Chiropractic Research in 1989 involved 200 paediatricians and 200 chiropractors who were randomly selected. In essence, the study compared the health of children raised under two different healthcare models. On the one hand, the medical model of health, and on the other hand, the chiropractic model of health. The children raised under the chiropractic health model had less medical treatment such as antibiotic therapy and medications, fewer allergies, fewer ear infections, and fewer cases of tonsillitis. There are also numerous studies that provide evidence to suggest that a number of aspects of the chiropractic lifestyle, if neglected, can cause chromosomal damage and thereby lead to reduced quality of life as you age. In addition to this, nervous system interference such as that associated with vertebral subluxations has not only been linked to chromosomal damage, but also to loss of muscle strength and loss of memory. In fact, we now know that vertebral subluxation can interfere with the ability of the brain to process information. The results, according to a study published in the medical journal Spine in 1999, indicate that you are less able to learn and less able to memorize. You may have noticed that as we get older, our agility and balance may be affected. It may be that as a 35-year-old, you're not as agile on a skateboard as you once were. It may be your hand-eye coordination has deteriorated. Perhaps you can't catch a ball like you used to. Perhaps your reaction time in tennis when volleying at the net is not what it used to be. Well, the good news is this need not necessarily be the case. A study published in the Journal of Chiropractic Research in 1991 investigated the effects of chiropractic adjustments on 50 athletes. They found that the athletes improved significantly in agility, balance, position sense, power, and reaction time. In a similar study published in the Journal of Vertebral Subluxation Research in 1997, researchers found that after 14 weeks, athletes who received regular adjustments had a significant improvement in muscle strength, blood pressure, and pulse rate. Are these aspects of your health you would like to function at their best as you get older? The findings from two recent studies suggest that older people who receive ongoing chiropractic care are more likely to exercise vigorously, they are less likely to be hospitalised, they are less likely to need to use a nursing home, they are more likely to report a better health status, they are less likely to need to use prescription drugs, and they are more likely to be active in the community. In another study of 89 patients under chiropractic care for 5 months, improvements were reported in their physical health, mental and emotional health, and overall wellness. As demonstrated in other studies, improvement continued with continued care. In other words, there appeared to be no upper limit to the benefits of chiropractic care. Millions of families around the world have chosen their chiropractor to be their number one family wellness provider, to be their family doctor. People are seeing chiropractors at all stages of their lives, at every stage of growth and development to achieve optimum health, to express their full potential. I urge you to do the same. Try the chiropractic lifestyle. Try regular chiropractic care for you and your family and see the amazing results. What will chiropractic do for the quality of your life? Will it be improved physical health, greater emotional health, more energy, better sleep? Will your children miss less school? Will you miss less work? Will your family take less medication and enjoy life more? Who knows? You will never know until you try. Why don't you join the millions of families who have chosen to actively participate in a healthier lifestyle, the chiropractic lifestyle? Abraham Lincoln once said, "And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years."